Good day everybody, this is Sison, the Professional-In-Pajamas, also known as Accountant-in-Pajamas. Today we are actually here in Philtaxes studio, and we will be discussing the weekly tax updates. There are a total of a number of tax updates, but we will be focusing on 3 tax updates right now, which only relevant and was issued by the BIR, mostly affecting the new train law. So we have invited here a guest from Sison, Corillo, Parone and Company. He's a tax supervisor, Mr. Albert Fontanilla. The first tax update we have is RMC, or Revenue Memorandum Circular number 73-2018. 73-2018 pertains to new tax forms under the train law. Mr. Albert Fontanilla here will help us to discuss about the details of this new RMC. Albert, what is the background of this RMC?
Circular is all about the availability of BIR forms. Kasi ang tagal na niyang nawala bago siya ma-issue. So, this August 31, 2018, the BIR issue a circular that in EFPS, the 0619E and F were already available.
Yeah.
So, but right now, we seen some changes in the RR 11/2018 because in
Very right, Albert. Just to give our viewers a background of these new tax forms, because there is the new law, the train law, there are some changes to it which requires to change the old tax form to a new tax form.
Yes, sir.
So ilang tax form ang affected dito with the new law?
Especially, sir, for the train law, because if you read the train law, the creditable withholding tax was already amended that it will be filed on a quarterly basis.
Yeah, okay. So how many tax forms was affected?
Expanded withholding tax, and also the quarterly, because of the new rates of the income tax.
Yeah,
so
okay.
For individual, the quarterly income tax. So we have the new version, the 1701Q 2018 version.
Yeah. So practically there are 2 major tax forms that were affected by this new tax law, from the old form to the new form.
Yes.
Okay, so the first tax form is actually what we call as the 1601E in the original tax form, which is filed monthly.
Yes, sir.
Agree? So, on the other hand, the new tax form now, because of the new train law, requires to have it filed every
Quarter.
So instead of monthly, it becomes now on a quarterly basis.
Yes.
So that requires now a new tax form.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right.
So the old tax form is 1601E because it's monthly, and the new form is what?
The 1601 EQ.
EQ.
But because in the train law, it's on a quarterly basis, but the BIR says that the withholding tax should be held in trust. So there's a revenue regulation in RR 11/2018 that the taxpayer should still file and remit the withholding taxes on a monthly basis.
Okay, so the difference between the old law and the new law is practically in the old law, the taxpayer is required to use 1601E, which composes the details of the filing plus the tax payment.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so under the new law, the filing of tax form is on a quarterly basis, but the payment will be done still on a monthly basis.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there will be now 2 forms that will be used in filing the withholding taxes. So
yes.
before, there is only one form, which is 1601E on a monthly basis, and because of the new train law, there are now 2 new forms that will be used.
Yes, sir.
So, for example, on the first quarter, the first month, what should the company use? What kind of form?
Okay, sir. For the first month, because in a quarter, we have 3 months. So, for the first 2 months of the quarter, we'll be using the 0619E for expanded withholding tax and 0619F for final withholding tax.
That's very good. This two new forms are actually very, very new. This is not existing before.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so take note for our listeners, actually, we need to emphasize to you that for this new regulation, originally there is only one form, which is 1601E, that will be used every month. First, second, and third month, or even for the whole year, there is only one form.
Yes, sir.
However, for under this new law, the new train law, for every quarter there will be two new forms that will be used.
Yes, sir.
Specific only for expanded withholding tax. Say for example, for expanded withholding tax, the company should use, what form is that?
0619.
on the first month and on the second month.
Yes, sir.
However, on the third month, which is for the full quarter, what is the form that should be used?
On a cumulative basis, sir, the form will be using the 0619EQ.
Okay.
And also, sir, because as you previously said, before the train law, it was filed on a monthly basis, and also the alpha list.
Okay.
Then, after the train law, prospectively, the submission of the alpha list is also in a quarterly basis.
Okay. So that's very good concern, because we have discussed that every month there is a monthly tax filing, including alpha list. So there are actually two submissions every month for specific for expanded withholding tax. So the first one is the 1601E under the old law, plus the monthly alpha list of payees. Agree?
Yes, sir.
And that's now the challenge now. That was replaced actually by a new form, which is 0619E, but there is no monthly alpha list anymore.
Yes, sir.
The monthly, it's no longer called as a monthly alpha list, but a quarterly alpha list. Oh, that's very clear. So basically, to our viewers, there are now two affected forms. Agree? And that is 1601 is no longer used, and it is replaced by form 0619E on a monthly basis on the first 2 months, and on a quarterly basis, on a cumulative basis. The form that will be used is what? 1601 EQ,
sir. Yes.
plus the quarterly alpha list. Okay. Now, on a monthly basis, the 60619E, what is the major content of this form?
Previously, when the 0619E and F were not yet available, the form, as per advisory of the BIR, the form to be used is the 0605. So also, sir, when the feature of 0619E and F were also aligned with the payment form, the 0605. So there are no details like the rate of the expanded withholding tax, so just the remittance.
Okay, that's very good concern. Just to clarify for our listeners and the viewers, when the train law was implemented in January, there were no forms available. And the BIR suggested, instead of using form 1601E, we use form 0605.
Yes.
So we used form 0605 until such time that this new provision of the law to use another form, which is form 0619E. And what you are mentioning earlier is the form 0619E is similar to form 06015, on which the major content is only the payment form.
Yes, sir.
Payment. So basically, the contents of this form are basically information about the check number, etc., etc. How about the filing of this form? Will this still be online?
Yes, sir. Because in EBIR and EFPS, we file it through online. So basically, the feature of this 0619E and F, we're also incorporated because we are already an electronic filing. Unlike before, we filed it on through the BIR, but because of the information technology we have, we file it online.
Yeah, even before the implementation of the new train law, we are using already EBIR forms or EFPS.
Yes.
So my question now is the form already available in the EFPS and EBIR form?
Yes, sir. Both in EFPS and
Okay.
EBIR form.
That's very good. It's a good news for us. So when this law is affected, this will cover what month?
The availability of this form were granted for EFPS August 31, 2018.
Okay, so for all tax filings this coming September, this will be the new form that will be used by the
Yes, sir.
taxpayers. Okay, that's very good. Do you have any other things that you want to...
When R11-2018 was the implementing rules and regulation for expanded withholding tax. Because in R11-2018, it says there that the deadline for EFPS was 15th day following the month for 0619E and F. However, in RMC 73-2018, there was a confusion that the filing of 0619E and F were based on the industry groupings.
I will simplify this as far as the listeners and the viewer is concerned. The deadline for the 1601E was previously 10th of the following month. Agree?
Before the train law, sir.
Yeah, before the
train law.
Yeah, that's 10th of the following month. So for example, the tax filing for the month of January should be filed and paid on or before February 10. So under the new law, what is the deadline for the form 0619E?
0619E was, this form is new. So in the implementing rules and regulation of expanded withholding tax, it's for EBIR, it's 10th day following the month.
Okay, 10th day following the
For
month.
EBIR, sir.
Okay.
But for EFPS, it's 15th day following the month.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Why is it like that?
I don't know, because they're giving more time for the EFPS filers to maybe compute the remittance of their expanded withholding tax. But in RMC 73-2018, it is based on the group industry of per company.
Just for the background of our listeners and viewers, a company can file either through EFPS, which is a web-based application by the BIR, or EBIR form, which is installable on a PC.
Yes, sir.
Now, the effect of these two applications is on PC, there is an unlimited sending which the BIR can accommodate anytime. However, for EFPS, the effect of this, because this is web-based, most users, when they use it simultaneously, the tendency is to hang. There is that
Internet traffic, yes.
traffic, so it slows down the internet, the filing, etc. So the BIR now has come up with a new regulation that will schedule the filing and payment of EFPS filers. So
Yes.
can you mention when is the deadline for industry?
In RR 2002, there are industries.
Okay.
So the group A should be filed on a 15th following the month.
Okay, so they're more lenient on the specific industries. At this point, for our listeners, we cannot go into the details of what are the companies that is covered by Group A. So for Group B, as your notes here, you have Group B 14th of the following month, Group C is 13th, Group D is 12, and Group E is 11.
Yes, sir.
So the BIR is more lenient on EFPS tax filers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and now for all our viewers and listeners, we encourage you to file it through EFPS because the BIR is more lenient on that.
Given a chance to prepare, syempre considering, sir, as what we have mentioned, the internet traffic as well.
Yeah, that's very good. So the deadline now is, instead of just every 10th of the following month, using EFPS is already between 11 to 15
Yes,
the
sir.
following month. That is applicable both for 1619E, 0619E, and 0619F, which is for final income tax
Yes,
returns. Okay, now let us go now to, because this is what we discuss is on a monthly basis.
Yes, sir.
Or monthly payment. Now, how about at the end of the quarter? Say for example, for the first quarter, January to March, when is now the deadline for the filing of 1601 EQ?
The deadline of filing should be done the last month following the taxable quarter. So meaning, for example, the end of the taxable quarter for January to March, following the last day of the month, following the taxable quarter, which is April 30, 2018.
So,
for January to March,
March 31.
taxable quarter, yes. Sir.
Yeah, so January to March 31, the 1601 EQ should be filed on or before April 30.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it goes without saying that the filing should be accompanied by a payment.
Yes, sir.
And the payment should be for the third month.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So that's very clear. Originally, the filing on a monthly basis is every 10th of the following month. But for this, under the new law, it will be on a quarterly basis. And the deadline for every quarter is 30 days after the...
It says there that because there are months that entails 31 days, last day of the taxable quarter.
Okay.
So for example, sir, for the second quarter, April, May, June,
Okay.
because July has a 31, so it's July 31.
Automatic.
Automatic,
So if it's
sir.
February 29, the cutoff, it will be February 29.
Yes, sir. Because it's the last day of the
And
month.
there is no such thing as February 30.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So that should be filed on the last day of the following month. Okay. So what are the salient features of this form?
But in this form, you will see it should be filed through different rates. Like unlike in 0619E, there's no ATC. But in this the feature of 0619EQ, there's an alphanumeric tax code. What is an alphanumeric tax code? Because in withholding tax, there are different rates. So
Okay.
there, for example, for contractor, we have the 2%. So in the ATC, you should indicate what rate to be given.
Yeah, but this is also applicable or available in the old form, which is
Yes, sir.
1601E.
It's the same with the 0619, 1601E
On the previous
in the
law.
previous form.
Okay, in the previous form. Now, what you're saying to us is basically the contents of this 1601 EQ is similar to 1601E, which
Yes.
is an old form. However, what is being put there is actually all the withholding taxes from January up to March, which
Yes,
is for
sir.
the whole quarter.
Yes, sir.
And the contents are similar. The ATC code, the classifications, the rates are all available. How about the look and feel of the form? Is it totally different or similar?
Actually, sir, when I look at it, it's actually the same. However, syempre, the BIR form was different. So if you see the form, it's the same feature with 1601.
It's the same features, even the look and feel.
Yes, sir.
There are no new flowers or
No.
no borloloy or anything.
Oh,
Okay, okay, that's very good. Okay, what is now the main difference apart from the quarterly and the monthly? What is the main difference of the two forms?
The difference of the two form for 1601E, right, sir? You're asking.
Yeah, and 1601 EQ.
EQ. As I have mentioned, there's no in 1601E and F, you will not indicate the rates because it's like the feature of e-payment form. But for 1601EQ, you will indicate the rates, the ATC, and you will also have to indicate your first two payments.
Okay.
For
First
the
2 months.
2 months. For the first 2 months.
Okay.
So that's the added feature of 1601.
Okay. So the main difference of the old 1601E form and the new 1601EQ form is the 1601 is on a monthly basis, but the 1601EQ is on a quarterly basis. That's the first difference. Number two, the second difference is there is that feature which allows you to put the payments for the previous 2 months that you did. So you put all the references there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So apart from that, is there another difference is the deadline of the filing, which is the original under the old law is 10th of the following month, and this one is last day of the following month. Oh, that's good. Any other difference that you want to mention?
Siguro sir, I'll add for the alpha lists. The deadline of the quarterly alpha list, hindi na po siya map. So it's called as quarterly alpha list.
Quarterly alpha list.
Yes.
It's very good that you mentioned that one. Before, the monthly alpha list is in a software being used by the VR. What kind of software is that? What do you call it?
Alpha list. The name of the
software
is
alpha list.
Alpha list. Yes.
So, is the VR using the same software, but instead of putting monthly, you put quarterly?
For that, sir, we're also putting the
Is it the
alpha
same
list.
software?
It's the same software, but they have a new version.
New version, and the new version is upgraded to a
I
quarterly
think it's
basis.
0.6 alpha list. VIR alpha list 0.6. So
Okay.
it's the new version of. But it's the same feature of.
The monthly.
Unlike before.
Similar.
Last year.
Last year.
It's the same feature. We'll be using the.
So
application.
basically, they changed the word from monthly to quarterly,
Quarterly.
and you can put in all for all the months that you
Yes,
use
sir.
it. So no other added features about that.
No added features, sir, for the QAP.
Okay, that's very good. How about the deadline? The deadline is still, it goes together with the deadline with the 1601 EQ.
Yes, sir, it's the same. But for the e-submission, unlike before, we're just filing one file. But for this, we will be filing three files because in the alpha list, I think it's default feature of the installer of the BIR that it will be generating the 3 months. So when we generate it from the application, it will be automatically generated as 3 files.
Three
So for
files.
example, April, May, June for that quarter. So 3 files for that quarter.
Okay. So when you generate for the whole quarter, instead of getting one file, there will be 3 files.
Yes, sir.
And that 3 files will be automatically sent to the BIR.
No, sir, because we'll still
Use
copy
email?
and paste, yes, through e-submission. We still need to send it via email.
Via email. And then when you send it, will it be sent in one email or 3 emails?
3 emails. Actually, we'll be using the e-submission 1 email.
Only one email, but 3 attachments.
3 attachments,
For the
yes,
whole quarter.
for the whole quarter.
Which is 3
Yes, sir.
months. That's very good. And take note for our viewers and our listeners that the total of the 3 months should be equal to the total payments that they did for the
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's exactly the whole point of it. Whole point of it should be matched with the return. The alpha list should be matched with the return.
Okay. So before when the monthly alpha list is being sent to the BIR, there is a confirmation email that you receive that hey, the BIR has received all this and that. How about this one? Is there any change about the confirmation?
For the confirmation, before pala we send the that file. We call it that file because it's formatted as that file, the extension file. We should validate it first because there might be an error. So when we submit it, the system of the BIR might not. When we confirm it with the BIR or validate it with the BIR, there will be an error. So in the feature of the application of the BIR, there's a validation module. So all the files should be validated. Why?
One by one.
One by one, the three files, because there are special characters that should be removed.
Ooh.
So the special characters were not accepted by, I think, the system of the BIR. So it should be validated first before we send it via email.
Oh, okay. That's a very good point because before we do it on a monthly basis.
Yes.
Now, here now comes with the new form, a new law. That you need to key in all the information for 3 months,
Yes.
and then you will generate 3 months, 3 files.
3 files.
And then you need to validate it one by one.
One by one.
And if there are some errors to it, what would happen? What will happen?
When for example, you didn't validate it, sir, then send it right outright to the BIR. There's a reply by the BIR that the file there's an error. So might be in the system of the BIR, that file will not be accepted because there's an error.
My question is, will the error reply will be in an instant, say 1 minute or 2?
For some cases, sir, depending on but there are times that immediately they reply, for example, 30 minutes. But there are instances that the reply took for 4 to 5 days, so it depends on the...
So that depends on the traffic, maybe whatever
yes,
factors that will affect it. But the point now is, we should validate it before sending to the BIR, because when the BIR replies after the deadline date, then we might be considered as a non-filing.
Yes,
agreed,
sir.
And then we will be penalized already.
Most probably, sir, that will be the consequence if we will not validate those files.
Okay. How much is the penalty for
based in RMO 7, because there's a table, so in RMO 7 2018 or section 250 of the NIRC, it's 1,000 to 25,000.
1,000 to 25,000,
For
depending on the
non-submission.
amount.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we cannot go into the details of the
Yes,
form, even a detailed example. Is there any other features that this new RR is or new form?
No, sir, for LB, because there are taxpayers who, for example, sir, in 1601E and F, what if there's no remittance? Or for example, sir, like the 0619F, because it's not really a recurring transaction. For example, the winnings on the lotto, like the final taxes, sir. It's not a routine. For example, for that month, you have no transaction.
Okay.
What should we do? Do we still need to file the 1601 0619F
or no?
or not? But in RR 11 2018, regardless of the amount, sir, we are still mandated to file.
Okay, just a clarification about what you mentioned. We are actually, there is no problem with 1601 EQ because on a monthly basis we should file the 16019E.
Yes, sir.
How about, again, if there is no payment, either 0619E or F, there is no payment, are we still required to file those two forms?
Yes, sir. We are still, because it's prescribed in the regulation in RR 11.
So whether there is a zero payment or amount to be paid, we should still file 0619E and F.
Yes, sir.
So that's mandatory, so that's very clear.
Yes.
So as if right now, after changing the law, before there was 3 forms, actually 3 filings, 1 for every month in a quarter. But this time there is also 3 filings still. Agree?
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, and it is now much more complicated because the first 2 months is a different form, and the third month is a different form also.
Yes, sir. Actually, it's like the value-added tax in a cumulative basis.
Okay, it's okay. We will just discuss value-added tax in a different discussion. Do you have any other comments that you want to share with our viewers?
Because, sir, just to highlight, because there are confusion with RR 11 2018 and RMC 73 2018, so might as well we still follow the latest circular, which is RMC 73 2018, in which the deadline should be based on the group or industry we belong.
Okay.
For example, Group A, as Sir Neil mentioned, that it falls on 15th day following month. Group B, 14th day following month, and so on.
This is again for EFPS.
For EFPS filers.
But for EBIR filers, it's still
10th
and 13th or the last day of the following month, so quarter. Okay, with that, I think we have a very fruitful discussion about the tax update RMC 73-2018, and watch out for our next RMC that we will be discussing. Thank you, Albert, for your sharing your knowledge and for coming with us here. And we thank all our viewers. Watch out. This is Philtaxes. We will be sending to you giving to you every week tax updates about the BIR new releases. With that, thank you very much.